Hi, I'm John and welcome back to the Contemplative Commuter. So today's thought was sparked by a conversation I was having at work, and it was around how I've managed to avoid having a dad-bod at the incredibly decrepit old age of 45, or put more plainly, this will be the first upload I'll do around my thoughts around diet and exercise. So I have perspective on this. So saying I've avoided having a dad bod is not completely true, because in my mid-20s I had quite the impressive dad bod. So if I do a bit of a stats comparison, today I weigh around about 10.5 stone, so 147 pounds. I'm 5'10" inches tall. My waist circumference is around about 29 to 30 inches, and my body fat percentage, according to my digital scales, which I know are completely inaccurate, would probably put me around about 14 to 15% body fat. Like I said, back in my mid to late 20s, this wasn't the case. I like to put it at my fighting weight. I was probably touching 15 stone, so a good 70 pounds heavier than I am now. I like to think my waist was 36 inches, or those were the jeans I'd forced myself into. In reality, it was probably closer to 38 inches. And my body fat percentage was definitely in the 20s. I had the moobs, the lot. So the question is, how did I take the weight off and keep the weight off over the years? And do you know what? It does come down to that simple equation. If I take a step back, I have moved more and ate less. But do you know what? Everybody knows that equation, and it's a little bit simplistic, because everybody knows the logical side around maintaining a healthy weight, which is think about your diet, exercise a bit more. So like I said, move more, eat less. But that's so logical, and if that was the case, everybody would be wandering around with six packs and look as though we've just walked off Love Island. And that's not the case. And what I've learned, or what I've considered and put a lot of energy into, I believe managing a healthy body weight is more to do with around the environment. So that's environment in two ways: where you live and also the body you live in, and more importantly, your emotions. So looking at it from an environmental perspective, it's really hard to keep weight off. Two reasons I see it is, one, where the times in which we live are, everything is stacked against us, in that we have lots of access to highly palatable, delicious food that's relatively cheap. So you can't go more than 10 feet without seeing a McDonald's, a Starbucks, Burger King, whatever, vending machines with chocolate bars. And it's really tough, because if we look at the other part of the environment, the body in which we live, we are programmed, or our stupid bodies still think they're living 10,000 years ago when food wasn't so abundant. So the one thing they absolutely love to do is store body fat for when times are lean and you don't have access to as much food. So the environment in which we live is stacked against us, and unfortunately our body's favourite hobby is trying to put on fat to get us through the hard times, which, if we're honest, there aren't many of those around anymore. The emotions is the next part for me, and that's, do you know what? Our brains love looking for the path of least resistance and our brain kind of directs us to move away from pain and towards pleasure. So what does that mean? Well, move towards pleasure. Who doesn't love eating a massive chocolate bar or a bag of Doritos or packs of Haribo is one of my weaknesses before. And going to the gym and running around, I know some of you out there will absolutely love it, and I have learned to enjoy it. But do you know what? It doesn't beat lying on the couch watching Netflix. So our environment and our emotions really, really make it difficult to lose weight. I'm going to leave it there for the moment, and if you join me in my next upload, I will give my thoughts on how I overcame those two obstacles. So thanks for bearing with me. If you like this video, please subscribe, and join me for my next upload where I go into how I've started to manage my diet and exercise routine. Cheers.